Okay, 5.2, adding integers with different signs. So we're still adding, but this time one of the numbers will be positive and the other one will be negative. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So get this written down. Okay. I'm showing you this stuff, but I'm going through it really quick. I'm trying to decide if I want to. I'm just gonna talk about the rule, and then we'll explore it a little more later. The rule is that if your signs are the same, you add them together, and then you keep the same sign. But if they're different, you have to figure out what you have more of. So number 3, if you had 5 positive counters, and you had a negative counter, okay, what do you have more of? Do you have more positive numbers or do you have more negative numbers? Well, you have more positive, so our answer is going to be positive. And then how many more positives than negatives do you have? Well, let's match up a negative with a positive with the negative. Okay, and let's see how many more is that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 more positives than negative counters. So your answer ends up being positive 4. It's positive because you had more positive counters, and it's 4 because there's 4 more positives than there are negatives. So let's go to number 4. Okay, here we have 4 positives, and we have 6 negatives. So which one do we have more of? We have more positives or do we have more negatives? Well, this time we have more negatives, so our answer is going to be negative. And let's see how many more negatives we have. So let's count. For every positive, let's take off a negative. There's a positive, negative. Positive, negative. Yes, positive, negative. Okay, so I made a bunch of 0 pairs is what I did. I matched them up. They cancel each other out. And what do I have left? I have 2. And is that positive or negative? It's negative. I have 2 negative counters left. What? Go. All right, number 5. What do I have more of? I have more negatives. And then how many more negatives do I have? Well, let's say I have 1 positive, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negatives. How many more negatives do I have? I know I have more negatives, but how many more do I have? All right, let's match them up. There's 1 there and 1 there. And then that's it. How many negative counters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6, so I have, my answer is negative 6. And then number 6, let's do it without drawing the counters. Okay, let's look at a pattern here. 5, and then really all I have to do is subtract 1, and I get 4. Over here, 6 minus 4 is 2. That means I have 2 more negatives than I do positives. On number 5, if I want to know how many more negatives I have, we'll just subtract. 7 minus 1 is 6. So that's my answer, and then I had more negatives than I did positives, so my answer is 6. On number 6, what do I have more of, negatives or positives? I have more negatives, so my answer is negative. And then how many more do I have? That's one of those clue words, how many more? That's subtraction. 4 minus 3 is 1, so my answer is negative 1. All right, so number 5, 6, 7, and 8 is showing you with counters. Remember your negatives are red, so you have 4 negatives and you have 5 positives. What do you have more of? You have more positives, so your answer is positive. And then you can just cancel them out, until, you know, like those, remember those are zero pairs, they cancel each other out. And then what do you have left over? 1. And if you do the subtraction, 5 minus 4 is 1. All right, number 6, you have 6 negatives and 6 positives. And if they cancel each other out, that makes 0. And this fits our rule. When the signs are different, you subtract. And then whatever you have more of, that's going to be the sign that you have. Number 7, what do you have more of? Do you have more yellows or do you have more reds? You have more reds. That means you have more negatives. And how many more negatives do you have? 5 minus 2. Okay, let's get rid of our zero pairs, or match them up. And that leaves us with 3 negatives. And then negative 3 plus 7, what do we have more of? We have more positives or more negatives? We have more positives. How many more positives do we have? 7 minus 3 is 4. Now let's look at that. Is that true? This is what we have left. Yep, 4 positives. Okay, I want you to copy these down. All right, negative 8 plus 14. What do you have more of? You have more positives. How many more positives do you have? 14 minus 8 is what? 6. Okay, number 10. Do you have more positives or do you have more negatives? You have more positives. And then how many more do you have? 7 minus 5 is 2. Number 11. You have 5 positives and 21 negatives. What do you have more of? You have more negatives, so your answer is negative. How many more negatives do you have? 21 minus 5 is 16. Number 12, 14 plus negative 14. What do you have more of? Well, they're exactly the same. You don't have more of anything. Your answer is 0. 0 plus negative 5. What do you have more of? More negatives. How many more negatives do you have? 5 minus 0 is 5. So your answer is negative 5. And then number 14, 32 plus negative 8. What do you have more of? Positives or negatives? You have more positives. How many more positives do you have? Let's do this subtraction. You have 24 more positives. Okay, I want you to make a list really quick. A little T-chart. Okay, on one side you're going to have negative words and positive words. Okay, a football team gained 9 yards on one play and then lost 22 yards on the next. Gained would be a positive number and lost would be a negative number. Okay, a soccer team is having a car wash. The team spent 55 on supplies and they earned that much. Okay, so spent is a loss and earned is a gained. Write these down. Number 28, Alexa had a negative balance in her checking account before depositing a $47 check. Okay, a negative balance and then a gain that would be depositing. All right, and then the last one, oh no, it doesn't really. Okay, so I want this chart on your table.